You are listening to a panel conversation recorded live on Tuesday, the 7th of October, 2025, following the performance of Punch at the Apollo Theatre, Shaftesbury Avenue. The conversation is part of the After the Punch series, curated by the Forgiveness Project. The speakers are Tony Hirst, Nico Concha, Dr. Kenny Imafidon, MBE, and Gethin Jones, with thanks to Football Beyond Borders for co-hosting this talk.
Brilliant. So, shall we just get started here then? So, first of all, I just want to thank you all for staying afterwards, and I really hope that you're going to get some real benefit from this panel that we have tonight. So I've got some little notes here that I'm going to read first of all, so I will be reading off the paper, but please bear with me. So this evening, we are going to be having our second post-show discussion of a unique series of 9 that have been curated by the Forgiveness Project. This discussion focuses on what makes a man and is hosted in partnership with the charity Football Beyond Borders and their campaign, the Lost Boys Task Force. My name is Gethin Jones. I am the founder of Unlocking Potential, and I'm also a speaker for the Forgiveness Project, and I am your panel host. I want to now introduce the panel, who we've got here. So you might know the gentleman at the end, Tony Hirst. Thank you, Tony. Next to Tony, we have Nico Concha, and Nico is a social and emotional learning practitioner for Football Beyond Borders. And next, we have a doctor, okay? Dr. Kenny Imafidon, sorry about that, MBE as well, okay, and he's an entrepreneur, author, and social commentator. Okay, so how the panel is going to work this evening is we've got 3 questions that we're going to answer over about 20 minutes. And then what we're going to do then is we're then going to throw it open to a Q&A from yourselves as well. Is that all right with everybody? Brilliant. Let's get going then, shall we? So, what I'm going to do first of all is I'm going to come to Nico and Kenny, okay? As a man watching this play, what does it raise for you personally? Who would like to go first?
All right.
Over to you then, Nico.
Well, yeah, I thought it was an absolutely amazing play and performance from everyone. But what really stood with me in the first half, I think you can really see how Jacob's got his guard up and he's got these layers of mask that he's spent years building up, and his whole mission in life then becomes about peeling them back. But what I really noticed in the second half actually was how the father also had that same kind of, he was shut off. It was his pride kind of holding him from allowing himself to heal and allowing him to go through that process. And I think it's so interesting to see that compared with the mother. And I think maybe it's something intrinsically in men that we have this kind of, this pride, and it's there to protect us, but it actually ends up causing so much damage, and it can completely restrict us as well.
Perfect. Yeah, I really hear that, and I think you just summarised that really well there. So what we're going to do now is going to ask now Kenny, and what does it raise for you personally?
Yeah, so it was truly amazing to watch, and I would say for me there's various themes, but one of them definitely being around the fact of how Jacob grew up. And I think what I did love about this whole performance was that there was no preaching to anybody about what to think. And that's actually left to the audience to come to their own conclusions. And I think a key part when we talk about accountability is really about people creating the space for people to own their stuff. And as you could see, as the performance went on and as Jacob grows up, he begins to own his stuff as opposed to be forced. And so again, I really feel like that whole theme of accountability. The second thing as well, just around the fact that he didn't really have that guidance outside of his mum. And I think a lot of times in society, we're not very honest that women by themselves really can't just raise men in the way they need to. I always tell people, like, actually, it's like driving a car. Yes, you can drive a car with one hand. I'm sure many of you do. But there's nothing like driving a car with 2 hands. And very much for me, having both parents in the picture does do a lot, and you could see the effect of even him receiving that card, just getting that £20, no real sense of relationship. He's trying to become a man with no real figure of what becoming a man looks like other than what he sees in his area.
Absolutely, you know, and I know I need to wait for them claps tonight. That's what I need to do. But yeah, and I really kind of get that as well. You know, you could really see from Jacob that, you know, he didn't really have any kind of script of what a man needed to be. So he was kind of learning that from the environment that he was growing up, from those around him. And as you say, you know, all he had at home was the mum, which is a different kind of relationship. So yeah, so just trying to think to himself that a man is meant to be what the man is being shown on the street. So I really get that. Okay, I'm going to come to you now, Tony. As a male actor performing this play, what does it raise for you personally in reflection of this question of what makes a man?
Loads of things. The play constantly challenges me, and the rest of the cast, I think, would agree, every single night that we do it, in terms of the choices people make and the behaviours that they display and the paths that they choose. When we started creating this play and these characters and getting them onto stage and how we might tell this remarkable, not only a remarkable true story, but a remarkable play written by James Graham, which was a year ago, April last year, I'd just recently lost my dad, and my son had just become a dad to his son. So that male coding, that lineage was coursing through my heart and my brain and my soul madly as I approached these characters that I have to play in the play. And it also made me reflect, just listening to what Nico was saying, is that in terms of what makes this particular man, I realised that the women in my life, past and present, continue to influence and shape me possibly as much as the men in my life. And it's never lost on me that you could argue that the hero of this piece is a woman in Joan, and that I'm really interested in terms of what you were saying, Nico, about the fact that she goes towards it. I've become very close to David, and I like to think that I understand him. We have a friendship. I wouldn't say that I think he has chosen a different path to Joan. He's chosen it on his terms. I don't think I think he's reconciled with that, and it suits him. I don't think he's embittered and that Joan's the emancipated one. It may well be a male thing in David, but he has a very strict principle and moral code. And he has a great relationship with Jacob. They continue to work together. It's just that point of forgiveness. And forgiveness is a really strange and difficult thing that requires work, and it has teeth, and it's fluid, it changes. So in that respect, I think David is content with his position, if that makes any sense. And in terms of, there are obviously two real characters that I play, David. The other important real character is Derek, who is a real person, who is the first real positive male role model that got hold of Jay. And they're still in contact with each other, they still work together, and I think those male role models, whether they're in the family or not, are so vital. I hope that I've provided it for my lad and my grandson, but I suspect he will tell you otherwise. But it is an ongoing thing of vigilance and importance for me, and where those people exist in the communities, and they don't have to be in the family. I think it is really important.
Thank you. So, I just want to summarise that little part as well myself in relation to the personal part of it too. So I've known Jacob for quite a few numbers of years now, and I've worked with the Forgiveness Project for quite a long time as well. And one of the reasons why I came through it is because I came through children's homes, I came through the youth justice system, the adult justice system, and I never really had any kind of male role model to show me what it meant to be a man, yeah? So I created my own perception of what that was. But it was the same thing. It was like a man and a woman in a prison, which was Elstoke prison, and this man in a prison showed me what love, care, kindness and compassion felt like, yeah, and he showed me what it meant to be a real man. And then there was a lady there, Diane, and she works as part of the chapel, yeah, and she literally just put her arms around me and just showed me what kindness and compassion and being able to have a listening ear there as well. So that's why I really liked what it was that you said as well, Kenny, in relation to it's better to drive with two hands, do you know, so yeah, brilliant, thank you very much. Okay, so we're going to come on to question number 2 now, okay? So we'll bring this one to you, Nico and Kenny. What have you seen and witnessed in your work that is really supporting young boys and men?
Yeah, I'll speak on that, definitely, because for those of you who don't know, Football Beyond Borders, or FBB, which is a company I work for as a practitioner in school, we are predominantly going into schools to do exactly as you were saying, to provide young people with a role model, not just men, women as well.
My granddaughter got a pair of boots from Marcus Rashford.
There you go.
On the programme.
Brilliant.
I wanted them.
But yeah, I think when these young people, and we know that about 1 in 5 people in school, children, teenagers I should say, don't actually have a positive role model in their lives. That number actually rises, obviously, in single-parent household and is misproportionately represented in black and minority communities. These are the people and at the ages, as we saw in the play, where you have this kind of fork in the road moment where you kind of choose your path. So in my workplace anyway, we make it our main mission to kind of offer support, any kind of conversation, any information, and obviously the social and emotional learning that we deliver in classes. And we can see that it impacts young people, and they grow up feeling that kind of that love, that kind of that compassion from adults, because you can only get so far from your friends, right, and even your parents. But another thing, and I think you mentioned it in the introduction, the Lost Boys Task Force, which is something that us, but also in collaboration with different kind of coalition with different organizations across education, social work, and sport. Are developing. The task force basically is aiming to give, I think it's to train 10,000 workers who are either football coaches now or people in those positions of youth work where they have the contact with these young people who are vulnerable, training them to become role models to actually give that extra support through the hardest years of their lives, which is often around key stage 3. So yeah, I'm very proud to be part of the organization, and I think that the more awareness there is out there, the kind of better it can be supported and eventually funded by the government.
Thank you very much for that, Nico. And we will be coming back to that a little bit more at the end as well, about how other people may be able to get involved, because that is a really, really good campaign and a worthwhile cause to get involved with. So thank you very much for that, Nico. And what about yourself, Kenny?
Yeah, so myself, I'm a co-founder of essentially an initiative called My Brother's Keeper. So something I co-founded about 8 years ago with Lord Michael Hastings. And literally how it very much started was, so to give people context, so in the same year actually that Jacob went prison, I also went prison myself. However, I was wrongly charged for a murder that took place in my area. So same year, 2 different stories. And obviously, I mean, there's a lot there itself. But unfortunately, I haven't got a wonderful play on Broadway when I'm older. But jokes aside, so in terms of a lot of the work that we do in the prisons over the last 8 years is very much linking to the fact we work with a lot of men who have long-term sentences, many of them who won't be out anytime soon. But what a lot of people forget is that 99% of people in prison will come out one day. Now the question is, when they come out, to what? And a lot of times people believe in, yes, there should be some form of consequence or punishment or rehabilitation. But as you can see sometimes, even from this play, rehabilitation is about bringing someone back to their former self when they were making good decisions. And someone like Jacob, what were you bringing him back to? And actually, we need to much more focus on a system that is about transformation, and also a system that focuses on providing love and consistency. So through the My Brothers Keepers project, we're very much working across 12 prisons in the UK and providing men with that mentorship, providing them with befriending them, essentially being a positive network for them. And in certain prisons, we're actually providing older men to be like father figures to the younger men there, because fundamentally what brings the success in what we're doing is showing these men love and consistency. And though it can sound so simple, actually that's what it really takes. And we've had these meetings with people from government and elsewhere, and I've always asked, what's the success of your program? And it's not in the fact that we've got some highly scientific theory of change. It's actually showing people that not everything that counts can be counted, not everything that can be counted counts. And love cannot be counted, but everyone that has felt it knows exactly how transformative love can be. And we don't like to use those type of words or language because we can't quantify it. But once you feel it and experience it, you want to give that to other people. And for me, I think the challenge we see, particularly a lot of the men, is around that vulnerability, which there was a lot in this play, is the fact that more times than not, they have not genuinely felt love from another man to them. And if we want to change the cycle, then we have to show much more men love and kindness. So I grew up without a father figure in my life. My mom did an amazing job. It wasn't until I got older and I embarked on meeting other men who weren't my biological father, but were fathers to me, and have been able to show me that love and support. Now I feel so free to give that to other people. But it's very hard to give people something you've never received.
Yep. I really love that, Kenny, what you kind of said there as well is, and you know, them words, love, care, kindness and compassion are the ones that we use all the time. And Harry in Elstoke Prison was the one that showed me love, care, kindness and compassion, you know, and they are the things that are really going to be able to set people free. And there's also a saying that they say within the recovery world as well as the prison world, and what it is that hurt people will hurt people, but healed people heal people, and you heal people through love, care, kindness and compassion. So thank you very much for that, Kenny. Okay, so I'm going to come to you now, Tony. So yours is a little bit more specific, yeah, because you're a professional, okay? All right.
Allegedly.
What role and impact do you feel theatre and the arts has in supporting young boys in becoming men in the world?
Well, in order to do our job, and not just an actor, whether you're a musician or an artist or a poet or spoken word, dancer, anytime, you need a heart and a soul, but you also need curiosity. And it's often collective work, so you can't step into the shoes of another without being curious. And I find a lot of young people, not just young lads, that curiosity isn't there. And as soon as you start to observe and question, then you kind of become a bit more of a rounded human being yourself. So I think they do. I mean, it angers me that the arts funding in schooling is being absolutely mullered by all of our governments that they've been elected. It's been proven time and time again that those who don't necessarily adhere to mainstream education in terms of reading, writing, arithmetic, I speak as one of these people, are marginalised and sidelined. But their abilities and skills in storytelling or in the arts is massive, and that lifelong skill has absolute benefit. The industry that this industry generates in this country is billions, and to ignore it at a school level is an absolute disgrace. It should be pointed out that our incredible producers here at Punch, a lot of you might not know this, they're doing this 10-week one here at the West End, non-for-profit. Any monies that they're making, this is the real key, any monies that they make are being fed into a fund to allow the play Punch to be accessed to schools, young offenders institutions, community groups in perpetuity with a full education back online. It's there, you can find it, it's punchtheplay.com, it's there. It's unique, it's never been done, and it's remarkable. And it'll mean this play is accessible to young people forever. And hopefully loads of kids are going to do this play, and they're going to engage in the world and the characters and place themselves in that world, and they will be better human beings for it.
Fantastic. I absolutely love that, and also as well, just like you say, so in some prisons as well, they do theatre and arts there. There's a couple of little charities. One's called Barefaced Theatre, and another one called Unlock, and they do some amazing work in being able to unlock people's potential within prison. So I always say, actually, people in prison, they are sometimes locked up potential, and the reality is we lock up some of the most vulnerable people in society. Yeah, there's an ex-prison governor called John Podmore, and he says this. He says, you should only lock up people you're scared of, not people you're mad at. And 60% of people in prison are the ones that they were mad at, and they are people that come through childhood trauma, they come from broken homes, substance misuse, poorest parts of the community, and these people need more things. They need more opportunities and more chances, So the more organisations that can do stuff in school, but can also do stuff in prisons and young offenders and all them areas, is just going to have a massive, massive impact. So I really appreciate all of the work that you're doing there. So we should give them another round of applause for that. Thank you. Okay then, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to come to the third and final question, okay? But what I'm going to do is I'm going to come to you first of all, Nico, with this one, okay? So what can we all do, I can't even read straight, here we go. What can we all be doing as our next steps in being able to support people?
I think it's a difficult question, if I'm honest, but I think there's more and more awareness being raised for young men, especially in mental health, in the last 10 years.
Sorry, can you tell us more? Sorry, I should have followed on with the question there. Tell us more about the campaign.
Yeah.
Because that's the bit that we really want to be able to get out there.
Okay, absolutely.
Yeah, because you'll love that. You'll fly.
I've already mentioned, guys, the FBB, in collaboration with a lot of different kind of sporting and youth companies, have created this task force called Lost Boys Task Force. And the big kind of push is to get these trained, trusted adults in education system around the nation, and to have a trusted adult guarantee for every young person in education nationwide. And the goal for us is to basically, we're going to start the campaign with by already training the staff. For example, at FBB, we work in school, so we can be on the field doing this work now, but we're trying to get other members of staff, so youth workers and football coaches and other people, to be able to kind of do this work. But it does require quite a lot of funding. So the government are being asked to part fund half of this. I think it's a £5 million project. And yeah, so that's a huge push. So anyone who's interested in that or in the work we do, please do follow us. There's going to be a lot of kind of noise happening towards the end of this year. So that's really exciting for us. But I'd say more generally, we need to see big voices, big kind of people be open about these conversations. I mean, we've seen it with some footballers, and I know you mentioned Marcus Rashford and obviously all the work he's done, but we need to see it more promoted, and we need to be a bit braver about having these conversations with young people, because ultimately it's us who's going to basically lay the foundation for the next generation to kind of understand what exactly masculinity should be about and what we believe that is the right thing to do. So, yeah.
And where can they find you, Nico? Where can they find out this information?
So at the moment, it's if you search Lost Boys Task Force, or if you follow FBB, Football Beyond Borders, that's where it's starting up now. And yeah, you'll see more and more. It's going to be a growing movement.
Fantastic. And I really, really say thank you for all that you're doing in that area. Thank you. Kenny, what do you think people in the audience could maybe start to do as next steps as well?
No, thank you. So I would say two things. So I would say the first thing is just the importance of still remaining hopeful. And I would say that merely because I meet too much people and speak to too much people often who walk around with hopelessness. And that's not serving anybody in any way. And I think a lot of times when you watch a play like this, one of the things that you should definitely leave here with today is hope. That there are many more people that could be like Jacob, and many more people that could have their whole life transformed and actually very much excel in life. And the reason why I think this thing is very profound is because it can always be people that you easily overlook, who actually a lot of times probably have the most potential. And it's really about challenging our view on how we see these people. And when you, though we're watching it, and it is a grown man playing a kid, but it's actually a kid. And I think a lot of times we can be so harsh to pass serious judgment on a child's decisions. Like everyone here has made stupid decisions. And so I think one of the first things we can do is to be hopeful, be less judgmental. And the last thing I'll say, because of time, is just figure out a way, partner with an organization where you can genuinely mentor young people who are growing up in those type of environments and lend your time to them and lend your resources and whatever else you have to give, because it takes a village to raise a child. We shouldn't just be concerned about children when we feel like our children are being affected. So what are other people going to do? The question is, what are you doing for other people's children? And then we can worry about yours after.
Perfect, thank you. Lovely. I'm going to come to you now as well. What do you think we could all start to do now?
Well, I think I fully support what Nico and Kenny have said in terms of taking responsibility. And, you know, my ringtone on my phone is Elvis Costello's "What's So Funny About Peace, Love and Understanding?" And I still live by it every day. It's a really simple maxim. It's not funny, it's intrinsic and it's important. I do think for the young lads from certain areas that you're working with, I think that's one thing. I think for more grown-up men amongst us in society, we need to stand up and take responsibility. I think there's a great deal of male aggressive behaviour at the moment that we're seeing, which is right-wing, let's call it what it is. And I think they're also taking over the fact that they're somehow bastions of women's rights and protecting that. It's this, we are privileged, unfortunately. Society is still built around us. And I think those people who ignore that and play men aggressively with an agenda should be challenged. And it's up to all of us to man up in that respect.
Thank you.
I would say.
Thank you, Tony. And I would just summarise that little bit here as well. And I'd like to just throw some stats out, and I think these ones are really, really important, okay? So it is about taking personal responsibility and maybe look at what we can do in our individual communities that can help our children, because it is our children. Just to give you another stat, yeah, 80% of men in prison come from fatherless families, 80%. Over 50% of them have been excluded from school and got no qualifications. Way over 70% have got reading ages of below 11. So what happens at the moment as a society is we exclude them and we put them onto the street corners. They then are groomed and they are then finding out what it means to be a man by the people within their communities. But it's all of our responsibilities to be able to stand up and be them women and men of compassion that can maybe start to guide some of these young men to stop them going down that path. So I just really thank everybody on this panel for the conversations that we've had. And if every single person in this room just goes out and does one little thing within your community, that's when we start to get the ripples of change, yeah? Don't wait for Westminster to come over with their white horses, because it's not happening, yeah? We can do it ourselves. Okay. So we come to the final 10 minutes now. So we've got the opportunity for some Q&A from the audience. So is there anybody within the audience that would like to ask the panel a question? I know there's some mics going around.
Can we have some house lights on as well? Is that possible? Just so I know who's asking the question. Oh,
there we go. A question over there.
Thank you, Matt.
Thank you all very much. It was an absolutely wonderful play, and the work that you're doing is incredible, so thank you. I was just interested in what you were saying. I think there was one of the characters in the play who said the first 4 years of of a child's life is the most important. I know that you're working with boys generally in Key Stage 3. I wondered what the panel thought about what we can do for children who are younger and how we can support those children. Just to say, I mean, obviously we used to have, so a lot of support going in Sure Start. Obviously we don't have that anymore, and I think that work was really, really important. And I just wondered what the panel thought about what we could do now for those younger children.
Do you mind if I just go in with that one? So if we go with that, so I was born into the system, so I'm also a care leaver as well. My mum was also in children's homes before me. So I would have what they call an attachment disorder, yeah? But today I don't have a disorder, I put order within that disorder, okay? But the way I was able to do that was by people showing me love, okay? So what I believe is with very young children, before Key Stage 4, that may have an attachment issue because of the environment they're living in, we've got to get to a point of where within professional services we can show love, care, kindness and compassion, because we hide behind professional identities, processes and systems, and that is not going to help a child. Yeah, if you think of children's services, they call it a corporate parent. How can you have corporate and parent in the same sentence? Yeah, okay. So for me, that's the part where I see is we need to come back to basics, and Kenny explained it. Yeah, it takes a village to bring up a child. A village would not bring up a child through processes and systems. They'd bring them up through love, care, kindness and compassion. Does that help?
Anyone else? Hands up.
Hello? Hello? Oh, hello. Hi. With all the work that you do, it's so hands-on with young boys and men. How challenging is it when you have such high-profile people, such as Andrew Tate and the President of America, almost going against what you're saying? Because if yours is a very hands-on approach and they can say whatever they want on the internet, how much of a challenge is that? And also, what can be done that the good work that you do doesn't get unravelled? Like, what are the steps that we can do about that?
Yeah, I'm happy to answer this. I think it's such a good question and such a valid and question that, you know, it's growing. It's a growing problem. Obviously, we know with social media, the generation who spent their kind of year 5, 6 and in lockdown and now coming into secondary school, and these are the people they're influencing a lot. What I'd say is it's a hard conversation to have, because these are, for lack of a better way of saying, they are the kind of primary educational resources that young people are using sometimes for things like social and emotional skills, whereas school may have failed them, or they seem to think that way. These people are here to kind of pick up their pieces, but they are giving kind of these very one-sided accounts and distorted views, toxic masculinity traits to the young people. So it is becoming a kind of more and more difficult battle as time goes on. And I think one approach that I would say is try and be open and honest with the young people about how you feel about this, and listen to them and the reasons why they're actually engaged in these things, rather than kind of blanket, like denying them access or saying that this is completely wrong. I think you have to have that conversation with them and treat them with a little bit of respect, because they have also been failed, I believe. But yeah, I don't know if anyone else has anything to say or agrees or.
Yeah, so I'll just add. So now, thank you for the question. So I think this whole topic around like masculinity. So in my book, I even talk about, it's called That Peckham Boy. And one of the things I do talk about, and my first chapter is about daddy issues. And I think, and it's linked back to what you mentioned earlier. I think much more men have to be courageous to step up. I think a lot of times we like to beat around the bush. And the truth is, if more men were present in their kids' life, more men showed the love and compassion that they need to show to their kids, and if more men actually focus on, when they think about alpha male, that actually includes service, which means serving other people, including the women's society and everything else, then your job would be done. No one would care about Andrew Tate, no one would care about what Donald Trump thinks. And it's actually really just more men being what men are meant to be. That's the honest truth. That's what it requires, people stepping up to the plate. I think a lot of times we turn it into big social things, sociology, and actually it's just the challenge we have in society is this, and this is the problem with men. We can keep gathering every night there's 52 weeks, 50 weeks, and not once when we gather do we ask each other, oh yeah, how are your kids? Women, it's not possible for all those weeks to go past. And I think that says it all about, there's not enough shame around men not being around. Yeah. And as a society, we just left them on the hook.
Yeah. I completely agree with that. sadly, we've kind of come to near enough the end of the Q&A here, so I do apologise. But where you can find us all, we've got pictures up there on social media, and you can always ask other questions through social media if you'd like to, you know. But I would also like just to reiterate there what Kenny said is like we need to be truth. We need to speak truth about what's really going on, you know, because you can't create a solution to a problem you can't see, you're unaware of, or you don't admit. Yeah, it's only once you admit the problem that you can then start to find the solution, and hopefully these sort of discussions can start that process. But what I want to do is I just want to give a really, really big thank you to Tony, Nico and Kenny for this panel. They've been amazing. Thank you. I also as well, as I say, I've been part of the Forgiveness Project since about 2017 now. I've known Gethin for quite a period of time, and I really want to thank the Forgiveness Project for working collaboratively with yourselves in this theatre, and I want to thank all of you for staying behind and being a part of this panel, because it really shows that people care, and that's the main outcome of this, is people caring and wanting to get involved. So give yourselves a round of applause, and thank you very much.